Good evening everyone, my name is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly and we are back to preview what is a massive game in the footballing calendar if you are a Manchester United fan or a Leeds United fan of course, as United will be hosting Leeds at Old Trafford on Wednesday night. Pretty well our game in hand. We had this game I think scheduled for another time in the season. I think it's just been moved forward to now. So we are playing Leeds twice in a row, once on Wednesday. We will be playing them on Sunday as well, I believe. So, yeah, twice in a week is going to be very interesting to see what happens in both those games and whether there's any difference between the first and the second game. But we've got to get the games out of the way first. And there's been a lot of news. A lot of big talking points heading into this fixture in particular that we'll get onto in just a second. Before we do, please do, if you're watching as a video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I really enjoy reading all your comments, so please do leave them in the comment section down below. And also, if you enjoy, as usual, hit that like, subscribe to the channel if you are new and do want more of this sort of content. So let's just get straight into it. No time for dilly-dallying, especially in this fixture, and we'll talk about Leeds United first. And the big news, as I talked about, is a lot of big talking points going into this game. The biggest talking point is that Jesse Marsch, who was the Leeds United manager, I say was because today it was announced that he'll be departing from the club, and we don't know who's going to take charge. There's rumours that an interim manager will take charge, Chris Armas, who obviously was Ralph Rangnick's right-hand man, so a little bit of a storyline there. But Leeds United sacked their manager on Monday. If you're watching this today, if you're watching this in the future, Monday was the day that Jesse Marsch was sacked. A 1-0 defeat against Nottingham Forest at the weekend was seemingly the final straw. And I was listening to a few of his press conferences, and he was just talking about how he felt the team was performing well, but they weren't turning those performances into results. And unfortunately for him, football is a results business. So he got the chop, he had to go, and now Leeds will be looking for a permanent replacement very, very soon. But I think it'll be too soon for this game. So I think we're going to have Chris Armas as Leeds United manager coming back to Old Trafford. It'll be very interesting to see how he sets up, and I'm sure he'll be out for revenge, especially with how it ended and how Ralph Rangnick and his coaching staff were seen at the end. Not really looked on too favourably from most United fans. So, yeah, he'll want to prove a point, and I'm sure those Leeds United players will want to prove a point as well. Asim, thanks for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Always good to see you, my friend. Hope you're doing well, and hope everyone who's watching is doing well and having a good Monday evening as this is going out. So yeah, obviously that's the biggest story coming into this game. New manager bounce is something that I think a lot of United fans I've been looking at on social media have been talking about quite a lot. Will Leeds turn up now? Did they down tools under Marsch? Will there be a change? And my perspective on it is, it's only so much a interim manager can do. I know we've seen in the past interim managers come in and there's been an instant change, but I'm not too sure about Chris Armas's coaching background. I don't think he's got any kind of massive coaching credentials, but I guess if you're an assistant coach, you don't need to have an extensive background. You just need to be able to coach teams on the training pitch. So I don't think you really need a huge backlog of teams you've coached for or anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how it goes. But I just feel like the players, if they know there's going to be a permanent manager coming in, I don't think there's going to be this massive bounce. I hope I'm right, and I hope that we can get the job done and there's not any hiccups along the way, because this is a big game. If you're a Leeds United player, you should be up for this game. The Man United players are the exact same. This is a huge rivalry between the two clubs. There's been a long standing rivalry in the Premier League. So this is a huge clash in the Premier League calendar. So regardless of whether you've got a new manager or not, you should be up for it. And I do believe Leeds are going to be up for it. A lot of players there are going to be wanting to impress the new guy, whoever comes in. And obviously Chris Armas is going to be, apart from having the kind of personal vendetta probably against Manchester United wanting to get one over on us, he'll also excuse me, I also want to get one over on the Leeds board and show them that, you know, he could take the job on a permanent basis. So we'll have to wait and see, and I think the new manager bounce thing is definitely something that worries a lot of people. If what I'm reading on social media is what people's opinions are, is true. But, you know, ultimately, you know, we are playing very, very good football, and I think the new manager bounce, if it is going to come into effect, probably it'll be at Ellen Road, because, you know, the fans will have been deflated following their 1-0 defeat to Forest. I think there was a lot of, well, I don't know how to put it, but there was a lot of, you know, anger in the fan base. There was, you know, a lot of the fans weren't happy, obviously, at what they were seeing. You know, Leeds currently 17th in the league, 18 points. You know, lost 10 games this season, only picked up 4 wins. And those 4 wins were against teams that were winnable. Yes, obviously, they beat Chelsea and Liverpool, but this season, both those sides have been fairly poor. And then their other 2 wins have come against Wolves and Bournemouth, who, you know, until recently, Wolves were rock bottom of the Premier League, and Bournemouth still are in the relegation zone. So, you know, at least 2 of those wins were against teams that you'd fully expect Leeds to beat. I think the Liverpool winning away at Anfield is never easy. So, you know, you have to give them a lot of credit on that one. But at the same time, you look at the Chelsea one, winning 3-0 at Ellen Road. Chelsea at that point were in utter disarray, and obviously it led to Thomas Tuchel being sacked. So, yeah, I think, you know, Leeds this season have been more down than up. And they are currently outside the relegation zone, but I think the owners could see that the stone was dropping with Jesse Marsch. So, yeah, I think in terms of new manager bounce, I don't think we'll see it in the first game at Old Trafford, and I certainly hope not. But I think the game at Ellen Road will become a lot more interesting if they do appoint that new manager, because, you know, first game, it's a bit of a baptism of fire for that new manager. Ellen Road, Manchester United. It'll be an amazing occasion. Don't get me wrong. But I think, you know, that'll be the game which will be really tough for us. And if we can get through that, it'll be a big test and a big tick in Ten Hag's book as well. But yeah, Leeds right now are not something we should be fearing. You know, we're a team which are obviously playing some unbelievable stuff, particularly at home. 13 wins at home in a row in all competitions. So in this fixture coming up, I'm not too worried. Yes, there could be a little bit of a bounce, but I think with an interim manager, it's not the same as when you get the full replacement. So, as I said, I hope I am right, and you know, these comments don't come back to bite me. But I think the game at Ellen Road at the weekend is the one that's going to be a big test. A lot of people joined. Thank you for joining, guys. Appreciate it. Box, hope you're doing well. He says kicking a blue. Oh yes, we'll talk about that. Actually, we will talk about that. G, thank you for joining Red Devil Studio. Appreciate you joining the stream. Make sure you check out his channel as well. Brilliant Manchester United content. Also was on a Twitter space of his. So make sure you follow him on Twitter. I think it's just Red Devil Studio on Twitter. If not, G, feel free to put your Twitter in the live chat. But yeah, if you're into joining spaces and things like that, I had a really interesting space actually about the news today that Man City are facing, 100 allegations of breaching financial, well, not financial fair play, but the Premier League's rulings on, you know, finances and things like that. I mean, I'm sure there's people that explain it in a lot bit better detail than that, but, you know, you guys will have seen all the articles and all the reporters and all the information on that, and it's online if you want to look up more. But yeah, if you want to check that sort of stuff out, make sure you do go and follow him on Twitter, and also subscribe to his channel, as well as Rich's channel. Make sure you check out Rich Sports. Thanks for joining, Rich. Appreciate it. Always good to hear from you. Liam, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Well, appreciate it, mate. Hope you're doing well. I can't get my words out. And Mo, good to see you again, Mo. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, thanks for everyone who has tuned in. Appreciate it. Always good to see you guys, and also Daryl as well. Does a football stand. Always a good channel to check out. Make sure to check it out. Great stuff over there. Yeah, Scott. Well, thing is, speaking of Scott McTominay, obviously, we don't know with this situation. We'll touch on it now because obviously it seems to be what people are talking about. We'll keep it topical. You know, we'll talk the Leeds game. You know, Man United at home, 3 points. That's all you got to say at this moment in time, anyway. But no, I think in terms of the Man City thing, I would lie if I said I wasn't reveling in the news, as most United fans are. But City, it looks like they might get the comeuppance. I mean, I don't think ultimately anything's going to come out of it, or anything big's going to come out of it, simply because they have so much money, and the lawyers they've got, I'm led to believe are very, very good. But I do think this situation is more serious than the previous situations they've been in, where things have been kind of adjourned rather than kind of been found innocent. I think in the past they've kind of got off because of various reasons, but it wasn't as if they were found guilty of whatever they were doing, or found innocent. Sorry, it was that they just, I don't know, it just got settled or something like that. But this time I did see an interesting piece of information that said that if the committee ruled that they did make these breaches, they wouldn't be allowed to appeal it or something like that. In the Court of Arbitration of Sport, something. I mean, you guys can correct me. You guys feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there was something about how they weren't going to be able to appeal if the result didn't go their way, which is promising. It's promising. But yeah, listen. I mean, talking with Scott McTominay, that's what I was on. So talking about Scott McTominay, if in the hypothetical scenario the titles went to the teams in second place, Scott McTominay would be a Premier League winner. Now what are you guys going to say? Our team would be stacked with Premier League winners. Absolutely stacked. And I actually thought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer might end up being a Premier League winner, which would have been a turn up for the books. But then I saw it was only up to 2017-18. So, that would have been something else if Ole could have claimed a title. G-Wall, thank you for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Good guy. Cheers for tuning in, mate. Appreciate it. Bulk says, I don't like that we're playing Leeds twice in a week. Tough to win both games versus same opponent in a week from past experiences. Yeah, that's something that's going to be a big challenge for Ten Hag, because you feel as if even if you win the first game, psychologically you'll have one over on the opponent, but then again, they'll be able to learn from the mistakes they made, and obviously they'll have that extra motivation to win the second game. So, I mean, it's always difficult. We've had it where we played, Aston Villa in the league and then played them in the cup. And I think we had it with West Ham as well a season ago. So, yeah, usually you don't win both games. It is tough to win both games, and I don't know whether it's just a psychological thing. But, yeah, the way we're playing right now, I do have full faith in Ten Hag that we can win both games, and it would be huge for us to win those two games. Especially with Man City dropping points yesterday. So, it's a big task, and I think if we do get through the tests, it'll be huge for Ten Hag and the team. And I'm more confident for the game on Wednesday than I am at the weekend. I really think the game at the weekend is going to be tough. EPL doping, exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, if Man City have done this, which, allegedly it seems like they have, I just want them to get their comeuppance, man. But I just don't see it, unfortunately, because, the money and everything like that. I just feel like City are going to have the best lawyer team in the world. They're going to be able to get out of it. And even if they do get punished, they'll probably be able to kind of wriggle their way to I don't know, like a £10 million fine, something like that. Box also says they should be relegated to the 4th division to uphold the integrity of the beautiful game. I mean, if they're found guilty, I did see that they could consider relegation as an option. So, hey, we'll see what happens. But very interesting developments today. Not a great day to be a Man City fan, I've got to say. There's been better days, I reckon. Matthew joins as well. Thank you for joining us. Long time no see. Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. It's been too long, really. It's been too long. Maybe not too long. But yeah, thanks for joining. Box says, worst case scenario, we get 4 points, I guess. Yeah, I hope you're right. I mean, I said, the game at Ellen Road, Man United Leeds games, form kind of goes out the window, to use a massive cliche, but form can go out the window. Dazza says, should beat these easy at Old Trafford, but Ellen Road, it could be difficult. Yeah, I totally agree. That sums up my view perfectly, I have to say. And Rich says, is Owen okay with Hendo not even first choice for Forest? Well, I think there's some sort of story that Henderson's injured or something like that, but I don't know what's going on there. But yeah, obviously Keylor Navas has been brought in, and he had a very good game. Against Leeds. Obviously a game that ended up with Jesse Marsch being sacked. So yeah, I'm led to believe that Keylor Navas made some really good saves in that game. So yeah, maybe Henderson will have a similar problem where he's trying to beat out another goalkeeper. And then maybe he'll want to come back to United. Who knows? But we'll see. Henderson not getting much game time recently. So let's talk a bit about Man United. We talked a bit about Leeds and the Man City situation. Manchester United, the biggest thing really for us going into this game is no Casemiro. And obviously he got the red card, and I talked about it on my match reaction. You can check that out on the channel. But ultimately, the bottom line is I don't think we're going to be appealing it. So Casemiro is not involved in this game on Wednesday. But Marcel Sabitzer, the man we brought from RB Leipzig, will be involved in the game. And I think he will get his first full start for Manchester United. And I think it will be in the pivot with Fred. I think we'll see him play in a similar position to where Eriksen played. In fact, in the exact same position to where Eriksen played. But I think it's a massive opportunity for him. And especially against Leeds, you need energy in that midfield. And while Sabitzer can't do the same role as Casemiro, and I don't think many players in the world can do the role Casemiro's doing, ultimately, I think he's not a bad replacement, and it'll be good for him to get his full Old Trafford debut. I know obviously he came on in the game against Palace, but he only really came on in the last kind of 10-15 minutes and basically had to defend for that period. So we didn't really see what he could do. So hopefully Sabitzer can show us a very, very good, very encouraging performance on Wednesday night. But yeah, ultimately that's the biggest story for Manchester United. Other than that, 13 wins in a row at home. The Old Trafford fortress looks to be returning, and hopefully we make it 14 in a row with a win against Leeds United. And that would be, surely there's got to be some sort of record in terms of home wins, consecutive home wins. I'm sure we've got to be close to that. If we won again on Wednesday, 14 wins in a row at home, that is fantastic form. That's like, Man City 17-18 form. You know what I mean? So it's brilliant to see that we're kind of making it a bit of a fortress. Yes, you could make the argument that we haven't really played a huge amount of quality sides at home in that run, but you have to win. You have to play who's in front of you. And that's what we've been doing, and we've been doing it very, very well indeed. So hopefully that brings the fear factor back as well. Having that stretch of wins, teams hopefully will start to come to Old Trafford with not a lot of faith and get anything, and that will breed a lot more success for Manchester United as well. Box as time for De Bruyne to hand over the Player of the Years to Pogba deserves them. I'm not sure I'd go that far, Box, and I'm not sure I would go that far. But yeah, I think it'll be very interesting to see what develops in the next coming days, weeks. I feel like this case won't be done for months, to be honest with you. These sort of big cases are not cases which happen overnight. They're going to be done over a long period of time. So I don't think we're going to see any sort of verdict until maybe next year sometime. I don't know. But yeah, in terms of my Manchester United team, I'll give you my Man United starting 11. You can let me know what you guys think of it. And it's fairly unchanged apart from one Marcel Sabitzer in the midfield. That's what I've gone with. De Gea, Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Wan-Bissaka, Fred, Sabitzer, Rash on that left-hand side, Fernandes in the middle, Anthony and Wout Weghorst up front. Now, the frustrating thing, obviously, is that Anthony Martial, who came back against Reading, ended up injured again, which is really frustrating because, whilst I don't think Martial is consistent enough to be Manchester United's number 9, and obviously he does have a lot of injury problems, I actually thought that he could provide us with a much needed option for the rest of the season, because you need as many forwards as you can, and the depth is really, really important. And unfortunately, he's gotten injured again, and I just feel like this is the beginning of the end for Anthony Martial at Manchester United. However, I feel like I've said that 3 or 4 times since he joined, so you never know. You really never know with Martial, and it's frustrating as well, because I really did feel like there was a player in Martial, and you can see in glimpses he is a fantastic player. His ball control is really good. His finishing is also on point at times. Obviously in terms of his energy on the pitch, it's sometimes lacking, but in terms of quality, when he's on form, it's very hard to argue, and it's very hard to say that there's many strikers in the league that are better than him when he's on top form. But he really is a form player. He's someone who, if he's not scoring goals, he's not really contributing to the team. So, yeah, frustrating to say the least that Martial is injured again, and I do think it is the beginning of the end for his career at Manchester United. But, hey, as I said, I feel like I've said that 3 or 4 times. A bit of a broken record sayings. Box says, I would be tempted to give Dalot a start versus Leeds at home. We need to integrate him back. Could start Aaron Bissaka at Ellen Road. Yeah, I mean, listen, if Dalot is fit enough, maybe he's an option instead of Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I just feel like at the moment, and especially when you're in this period of playing a game every 3 days, yes, rotation is important, but you've also got to think about the fact that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And right now, Wan-Bissaka is playing very, very good football. He's in very good form. And I just feel like, yes, whilst you could argue there's potential scope for a few players getting rested, I think, you have to get the job done first. And this isn't a cup game. This is the Premier League, where it's very, very tight, very, very congested, and we need to pick up as many points as possible. So, yeah, I think Dalot will have to come back into the fold eventually, but I would probably still start Wan-Bissaka. But I can see what you mean. I mean, I wouldn't mind if we did have a good game and it was going according to plan, that we did bring Dalot off the bench. But I think to start, I would still go with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Niall, thanks for joining, Niall. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in to the stream. And Box also says, thoughts on possibility to rotate Anthony in that front 3. Yeah, you could do. Obviously, Sancho has come back from injury. We didn't see him against Palace. I think the red card had a lot to do with that. But maybe a start for Sancho, could happen again. I just feel like Ten Hag is the sort of guy that, as we've seen this season, hasn't really been a huge rotator of players. Even when it's come to playing, a Premier League and then 3 days later Carabao Cup. He hasn't really been a big rotator of players. So I think he'll probably stick with it, and maybe we'll see Sancho from the bench if we need him to come on, and if Ten Hag wants him to. But I would like to see more of Sancho, especially because I thought against Reading, even though they're quite tired, I thought he actually looked quite lively, and it'll be interesting to see how he performs. So I think if it goes to plan and we're doing well in the game, I think maybe that's the change that Ten Hag will look to make. But it'll be interesting to see how Sancho's return impacts Anthony's performance. Hopefully it has a similar effect to when we had Alex Telles and Luke Shaw battling out for that left back spot. Competition is really healthy and vital in terms of keeping your squad motivated and making sure everyone puts in good performances. So I hope Sancho's return does kind of create that competition between the two and make both of them really raise their game. But I'm going to give my score predictions, guys. I will give my predictions for this game. Let me know your score predictions in the live chat, and of course in the comment section down below if you're watching as a video. But I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Manchester United. I think whilst Leeds will be up for it, and I think the fact that Marsch is gone and they'll want to impress whoever's coming in will be a factor. The bounce will be the factor, but I just feel like the way we're playing at Old Trafford right now, we're looking so strong. 13 wins in a row in all competitions. I'm going to go with a fairly convincing win here. And as I said, the game at Ellen Road I think is not going to be as straightforward, but I do think in this game we're going to win by 3-1, and I think Marcus Rashford will get on the score sheet once again. That's my only really real prediction. Although probably it's not a surprise that I'm predicting that, considering Rashford's unbelievable form right now, especially in games at Old Trafford. Actually, his Old Trafford form has been scintillating. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 win to Manchester United. Let me know your thoughts in the live chat before we do wrap this up. But it's going to be very, very end-to-end. Obviously they don't have Bielsa, which was just crazy football. But I think that, they're going to be hungry. They'll want to show the new manager what they can do. I think they're going to want to, kind of make their case for a starting place in the team. And I think they're going to be... obviously, it's a Man United Leeds game. They'll want to give their fans something to cheer about. And whilst, you'd say that coming to Old Trafford with the record we've got, is stacked against them. And they have got some decent players. Obviously, Matthew mentions Nonto. I think he's been, probably their most threatening attacker for them. And obviously, when England played Italy, I think it was Nonto that scored a really good goal. In the game. I think it was a game winner. Was it? No, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't Nonto. I'm making that up. But no, Nonto, obviously, he's quick and he's very, very direct. So, yeah, our defence are going to have to be wary of him. Obviously, as well, Paddy Bamford, who has come back from injury, hasn't looked that lively. And to be honest with you, got ripped apart by the Match of the Day 2 pundits after his performance against Forest. So, yeah, I think... ultimately we need to be careful, and I think on the counter-attack, with the pace they've got, they could be dangerous. But again, I just have this feeling that we'll have too much for them going forward. I think our home form is very, very good, and hopefully the confidence we have right now will take us over the line. But as I said, new manager bounces a thing, and they'll want to impress. So we can't count our chickens, and I don't think we've won the game or anything like that, because it's not going to be straightforward. But I do think that in the end, our confidence and our strength will shine through. So I'm going to go with a 3-1 win. But let me know your thoughts. Aaron, thank you for joining, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a good Monday evening. Niall going with 4-0 to Manchester United. Rich Sport score, 4 goals assisted by Kieran. I mean, I'll take it. 4 assists. I mean, I'm someone... actually, that's not going anywhere. I went into a bit of a cul-de-sac there. I thought I had something, but I didn't. But yeah, I don't mind assisting. Rich goes with 4-1, a dodgy deflection for Leeds. Yeah. I mean, I think they've got some threat going forward, but I think it's mostly on the counter-attack. So if we can shut down the counter-attack and the pace they've got, I think we should be fine. Box says, imagine 6'8" Connor defending 5'5" Nonto. I mean, the problem you'd have is if Nonto tapped it in behind him. I mean, that would be an interesting bit of defending to see. Niall says, I know, mate, they don't have a manager. Jesse has left. He also says, will Man City go down the leagues like what happened to Rangers years ago? I don't know. I said, I think in theory that could happen, and obviously, they're going to be having an independent panel to investigate it, but I don't think anything's going to happen. City are just too big of an institution, and, I just think, these sort of allegations have been levelled in the past. Maybe not 100 allegations, but, they've got through it in the past, so I think they'll get through it again. Matthew says, Kieran prefers to give rather than receive. We'll just leave that lingering there. And Rich, appreciate your support. Rich, thank you very much. And yeah, if you do want to subscribe, if you feel like you want to and you're new around here, feel free to do it. We'd be massively appreciated. Aaron says, I'm having a good Monday. Would you like to know about Cambridge United team? Go on then. Let me know where your Cambridge United team is in your league. Cambridge United in real life, I believe, are... Where are they? I can look it up. I mean, they drew 1-1 with Ipswich, I think, at the weekend. And Ipswich are actually in the top 3. So it's not a bad result. I mean, I think Cambridge were leading 1-0 at half-time. But Cambridge currently in 22nd in the league. Obviously, Kieran McKenna managing Ipswich. So, yeah, not exactly looking too positive for Cambridge in real life, to be honest. You never know. They could win their next couple of games and get out of that relegation zone. But yeah, right now it's not looking too clever for them. 22nd with less points than games played. So never a good sign. Never a good sign, really. Box says time for Haaland to go to a big club. I mean, if City get knocked out and don't actually and get knocked out of the Champions League, Haaland might pack his bags. I mean, already he's looking like he's finding it difficult. In the last 5 games, he found it difficult. But he's still scored an unbelievable amount of goals. And he'll probably finish with the highest ever Premier League goal tally in a single season. So, he's probably not too worried about it. He'll get the Premier League golden boot. So, yeah. Aaron says, your Cambridge United team are in the bottom half, my tail. But good news is that they are not in the bottom 3. I mean, that's better than real life. That's much better than real life. So I'll take that. Who's below Cambridge, says Rich. Accrington Stanley, who are they? Exactly. And Forest Green Rovers. So both teams that really should be in League 2, I think. And Box says, when will the Coils invest in Cambridge United, take them to the next level? Yeah, we'll put together a consortium. When we have the capital, when we build our empire, that's the first thing we're going to do. But on that note, I'll leave you guys with that thought. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I'll see you after the game on Wednesday. But until then, thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate all of your support. Make sure you check out all the channels we shouted out as well in the live stream if you haven't already. And thanks for watching. And I'll see you guys all in the next one. Cheers.